My goodness me. It's blooming Danger Recall again, innit? Oh! Danger Recall, episode 47. We're almost getting to a year of Danger Recalls, my Dangerlings, my lovely little Dangerlings, all out there in Dangerland, hopping around like a bunch of furry danger bunnies. I'm not a furry, but it looks like a really lovely little sight. All of you feasting in the fields, enjoying yourselves, munching on your carrots and your grass, looking out for predators. It's a great vibe. I love it. You love it. Thank you for joining us. It's Tuesday. What a day. What a day. Hey, Tuesday. I've got loads of guests today. Listen to this. I've got so many guests. They're coming out of my bunny ears. Yeah. I've got Dan Thompson.
Hello, everyone. It's really warm in your bunny ears, Colin. I love it. It's snuggly.
It's nice. I've got Dan Thompson.
Hello, everyone. I'm in the other bunny ear.
I've also got Dan Thompson.
Oh, what do you call it when there's three of you? I don't know it's stereo and mono all at once. It's surround sound. It's 4D. 5D, the thing they do, all the Ds like they have in cinemas when they have got as far as 3D and they want to add some other bullshit to it. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, we got 5 Dan Thompsons.
That's what the D stands for.
I'm calling all Dan Thompsons. Calling all Dan Thompsons. Jan Quadrant Thompson. Yeah, if you know that reference. Well
beautiful.
Done.
How you doing, Colin?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. All right, just me and you again. I like this. It's kind of cozy, isn't it?
It's nice to have a chat. It's nice, and I like the added challenge because I just remembered that you and I did the DMQs for this run of episodes at the end of this.
Yes.
We did all 3 dungeon discs.
We did.
It's a challenge now to do recaps of the episodes that don't run over the other recap of the episode that we did with listener questions.
Oh my god, yeah, this is getting really crazy, isn't it? I haven't listened to us 3 dungeon discs. Perhaps we'll do a recap on that next episode. We'll briefly talk about it because I think this is the episode where we actually get out of the ossuary, isn't it?
It's mad, isn't it? You know what this means?
Yeah.
This means in our first year of being the Danger Club podcast, we completed 2 adventures, which, given how things expanded over the 2 years after that, where we have completed 1 and nearly a third adventures, plus a million other like spin-offs and side quests. It's just like wow, we got to the point quickly in the early ones. We just jumped adventure to adventure.
Yeah, what was that about? Maybe, I don't know. We were enjoying our time and getting it done. We were getting it done. Maybe we complicated things later on. Who knows? Why don't you let us know, Dangerlings? Tell us what you think happened.
Where did it go off the rails?
Where did it go off the rails? When did we lose our shit, Dangerlings? When did our shit physically fly out the window and hit a passing NPC in the face? When did that happen? I want to know. I need to know, Dangerlings. Oh dear. I was just telling Dan, I'm in a new house, right? And I was just looking. I'm in a 1-bed flat. It's nice little 1-bed flat. It's really nice. Got a little garden and stuff. But I was looking across the road, and in my 1-bed flat, there's 4 floors, and I guess there's 4 flats, which is fine. Everyone's quite quiet. Everyone's quite nice. So far, so good, right? I was looking across the road. There's a 4-story building in London, and I've seen cleaners go to every floor. So that means in this... it's only a 3-story building, my mistake. In this 3-story building, that's someone's house, the whole thing. And they have a cleaner to go and clean their whole house.
Living the dream. I mean, let's be fair, Colin. There is an artisan cheese shop about 3 doors down from you, so it's probably not weird that there are some wealthy people in your part of London.
Don't start giving too many clues, Dan, because I don't want it to be like Robbie Williams' house, where people go and camp outside. That was a weird reference, wasn't it?
And one guaranteed that no one outside the UK will understand. Could you be the one man famous for never being famous anywhere other than here?
Oh, he really tried, didn't he? He really tried to get into America, didn't he? Do you remember he released that album and he was like, oh, this is the one? Escapology, I think it was called.
He did. And I remember him saying, there was a great interview where he was saying, I've come to terms with the fact the only way my CDs are getting into American record stores is if I walk in and put them there. It's like, oh, Robbie.
Yeah. He was quite a funny dude, to be fair.
I love Robbie Williams.
He was quite a nice dude. Yeah, he was cool.
I think he's a good lad. He was on Adam Buxton's podcast last year, and back during the Adam and Joe years, Buxton made a parody version of Rude Box, his Robbie Williams very questionable rap song, where just making fun of how terrible it was, and based at the start and. During the interview, he was like, I think this is going well enough that I want to admit to you that I made this parody song once. And Robbie was like, oh, put it on. And they listened to it, and Robbie was like, that's really funny. And was really cool about it. I was just like, it's that weird tense moment where it's like, oh, this interview could go off the rails so quickly if he doesn't think this is funny. Yeah. He's a lovely guy.
Lovely guy. I think, Rude Box got a really bad... I think at the time it was like jiggy hip-hop was a big thing. It was really huge, and you had people like Will Smith and people like that just making amazing like pop records. That's what they were, really. And Robbie Williams is famous for he's always like hip hop. He's really into rappers, and so he was influenced by that, and he wanted to make a jiggy rap song, but most of his followers weren't really into rap music. And most of his followers had grown up as well by that point. They're all kind of mums and dads themselves and things. And he completely just misjudged it and tried to release a funny little hip-hop song, which didn't turn out to be as good as he thought it was going to be. The reception wasn't as good as it was going to be. I mean, I can't remember the song that much. I remember it not being that great, but it wasn't that bad. It didn't deserve the abuse, I think, that it got. But I think if anyone British makes a rap song, lately actually, British hip hop has been getting really good. But up until quite recently, it was always laughed at. There was always a tongue-in-cheek kind of ness about people making rap music. It's weird, isn't it? Because hip hop, I've said this before on a Danger Recall, I think, that hip hop is like 40 odd years old, and people still look at it as like a really young type of music. And you get Guardian readers going, oh, I don't think that's really not all Guardian readers, don't get me wrong. I don't really think that it's really music. It's just people speaking over beats. And if you've ever tried to speak over beats, if that's what you want to call it, it's really fucking hard. It's an art form. It's amazing. And people still kind of, they still take the piss out of it, and they still think that it's stupid. And so I think that's where it comes from. There's a prejudice against hip hop.
I love that. I fully agree. But I love that this rant was brought on in defense of Robbie Williams' Rude Box.
I've realised that, Dan, I'm sticking by it.
That's the greatest good that Rude Box has ever done for music, is provoking this debate.
I might cut this now that I've realised it.
Love Rude Box. It's a tune. I'm going to request it on James's stream next time.
Let's put it on, man. Let's get Robbie back in the, in retrospect, that song is a bop.
Oh my goodness.
I want to play it now, to be honest. I'll play it after we've recorded. Look, we've got music by Kevin MacLeod. We've got Soil Coast Soundscapes, Evan King, Chan Walrus, and Ross Bludgeon. This is 47. Take us to your leader. I love the question mark at the end, Dan. Yeah, I love the question mark at the end.
I think punctuation is quite difficult to do in episode titles because it doesn't always translate to like links and sharing and stuff. But I was just it's the only title that has to be in this one. It's weirdly, this is an episode we always talk about what were you doing when this episode came out, and I remember exactly what I was doing when this episode came out for some reason, because I was working in Holland a lot at the time. I was doing a lot of I was doing corporate training for a company that does, it's a big pharmaceutical company, and I would fly out there and they do like role play situations. They had a problem with like corporate bullying, and so I'd have to go in and be like their boss and be a dick to them, and they had to try and diffuse the situation and like bring the meeting back around, and then they'd get notes on ways to do it better. So I got paid to basically go to Holland and yell at incredibly powerful and highly paid executives from around the world in the big pharmaceutical company, which is really weird. So I remember, for some reason, I just have the sense memory of it, and I remember proofing this episode while walking around Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, eating stroopwafels while waiting for planes. So this is my international edition of Danger Recall, this one.
Nice. This was released on the 21st, wasn't it, of April, and yeah, I was filming a little thing at the time, actually. I was filming a pilot called Sun Dreams, which hasn't yet. I think what happened is they had this kind of, they made a pilot. It's a mockumentary. It was really funny, actually. There were moments in it that were a little bit, they needed reworking for whatever reason. The writers, I think, were so good, so good, really funny, good directors as well. They made a couple of jokes in there that they actually, in retrospect, they looked back on it and they said, okay, we did this was maybe a little bit old school, or we didn't think this through as much as we should have done. So they went back and they're rejigging it and taking things out and re-editing it and stuff like that. But I think then the pandemic hit and it sort of all went a little bit crazy, and now it's kind of on the shelf. But I do keep messaging them and saying, hey, let's get going with it again, because I think it's a really good show and I'd like to do it. I was also rehearsing for a show that was going to Edinburgh that I didn't end up doing. For whatever reason, I got too busy and couldn't do it in the end. So there you go. A couple of mishits in the acting world. There we go. That's what happened to me.
Do feel sorry for you on that, but I do remember it made our recording schedule a lot easier, the fact that you weren't in Edinburgh for a month.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like, I'm not going to Edinburgh, and you lot were like, so good. Because we were talking about like, we were talking about like we had to do the year before, didn't we? We had to record like 6 or 7 episodes in, or even more actually. We had to do like 8 or 9 in just to cover July and August, I think.
Yeah, it's always...
And then someone wasn't available in September as well, so we had to like really get there and record loads and loads. So yeah, I remember you lot just sighing a sigh of relief. It's such a Colin thing, isn't it? You always message me that, Dan, and just say, oh, that's such a Colin thing. Like all of a sudden I'm available, or all of a sudden I'm not available. It's like, yeah. And my availability changes at the drop of a hat.
Oh man, everyone is at the moment. That's the world is opening up and things keep changing, and you know we just have to get through it. But we're keeping it running. We're keeping it going.
Keeping it running. Keeping it going. We start this episode by bigging up Dangerlings. So big up you, Dangerlings, and we ask you to give us a review. So give us a review, Dangerlings. If you haven't done that yet, what's going on? I'm sure everyone who listens to this has given us a review, and we really appreciate it. Yeah, why not? You know, just open up
do that on iTunes, but
open up another Apple ID and just give us a review. I think at first, like, Ross had 3 or something. When we were first starting, he was just like, I think if you scroll back through the reviews, there's one which is definitely just by Ross A. Harmston or something like that.
In the very early days of it, like when we only had like 10 episodes out, there was one night where I put our podcast on repeat on Spotify on my phone and left it overnight in the other room playing to itself, so that the next morning I could feel like I was like, oh, look at that, we got another like 20 listens overnight. It's just like, oh god.
Yeah. Didn't you have like an iPod Touch at your parents' house, and you just whacked it on, just left it on charge just to play episodes over and over again?
Not permanent. No, I did download. I did go and I because I did the thing that I say on this is like steal somebody else's phone and download episodes onto it, and I did that on my wife's phone a few times where I just downloaded the back catalogue onto it until she was like, "Why is my phone full?" And I was like, "Don't know."
If it's an iPhone as well, you can't get rid of them, can you? I mean, you can, but there's all the support files that stick around on your iPhone.
It's
and
a real
really
pain.
hard to delete. Yeah, nice one, man. So M legs it in this episode, gets out of there.
God. Yeah.
Shania heals Karagor and Velda, and then nobody comes to find MZ.
Oh my God, I want to talk about this so much. It's so
Please.
fun. I love I love while they're doing it. One side bit, I love how shit all of Dark Michael's potions are. I love that they consistently never roll above like a 2.
Yeah,
that's just one of those things with
yeah.
the dice fitting the narrative perfectly.
So good.
But like, how did that feel? Because I had a really strong image of that, and it felt terrifying. This idea you run off into the dark in a panic, and then by the time you come to your senses, you're in pitch black and you can't see anything. But then to have that, and then to listen to everyone else, like Ross being like, "I'm going to search the room," and James being like, "Will you give me the spell book?" And just the bickering with them. I can hear you in the background just being like, "Lost in the dark."
Yeah, it's really funny, isn't it? I'm like, so no one's gonna come find me. Oh, okay, cool, no worries. Lost in the dark, guys. What's going on? Yeah, I remember thinking at the time, what the fuck? What is going on? And it's funny because Ross does this thing, especially earlier on, where Fulton has a trait where he sort of does something really stupid and then he tries to rectify it. So he does all of these things where he just goes and searches the room, and then he's like, "I need to find my best friend."
They left him.
Yeah. So in game, like, M doesn't know, but out of game, Colin's like, "What the fuck?" I could die here by myself,
Like, how long do you think it takes to search a room? This is because they're. Do you remember Neil Buchanan's Finders Keepers?
Vaguely.
Great TV show from the 90s. Neil Buchanan, presenter of Art Attack. I don't know why they felt he was a big enough celebrity that his name should be in the title of the thing, but maybe on CBBC he wasn't.
He had a good fucking agent.
But it was But he's like one of those guys that get Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
But it was a great show, and it was basically like you had like a fake house with the front taken off in the studio, so you could see in all these rooms, the bedroom, the kitchen, all set up, and it's literally like there are some prizes hidden amongst the room, and you have 30 seconds to find it. And so it was just kids just ripping rooms to bits looking for these prize tokens. Amazing show. It looked like the best thing. But that's always what's in my head whenever people were like, "Oh, I searched the room quickly." It's like
just making a fucking mess.
If you've ever lost your keys and like are just trying to find them in that way, it's not an effective way to search. You just make a mess.
Not at all. Yeah. My new house the other day, I couldn't find my keys. Opened up my front door, there they were.
Oh no.
Yeah. Don't know how long they were there for, maybe overnight, who knows, but nobody came in. So thank you very much, London, for not coming into my house.
Fulton should check the front door. Maybe M was hanging onto the front door.
Yeah, maybe. We have, I think, our first mention of Danny Carragher.
Yes, it is.
First mention of Danny Carragher.
He doesn't even say Danny Carragher. He says something else like Sammy Carragher. But it is, that's the Premier League footballer reference, which I think is great. It's such a good joke.
Yeah, it's so funny, actually. And then Fulton has this lovely bit, which I really tried to incorporate afterwards, but it never worked. I tried to find a place to put this into. It was like you have to go left to find drink. To drink is to left. I really wanted to like incorporate that. Maybe I still will. Who knows? Because who knows?
It was so close. There was Ross had a character in a social game in our game we played before that, whose catchphrase was "lefty, lefty, righty, righty." Which was every time somebody was trying to work out what direction, he's like, "You know what I always say, lefty, lefty, righty, righty," and I was like, "That's still not helpful. That doesn't."
Yeah.
And then I ended up like using it in conversation with my wife while we're trying to find our way around Milan. And she's just like,
hilarious.
"Stop quoting your Pathfinder game at me. Just get the map."
So then we hear, then we can't go left. So Em has to, Ross has to then improvise, but he also says right is always right. Just to get around it, which is great. And then Em hears Fulton screaming in the dark. There's a zombie leaning over the bridge ready to kill him. He moves away and the zombie drops, and then Velda messages and they all find him and they come back and then they're all in the room together, and then Em kills the zombie in the end.
Yeah.
And then says, "Oh, what were you worried about?"
Yeah.
I loved that moment. I love that moment. That was great. That's. I mean, I actually probably stole that from most of my references are stolen from something, as all of our references are. All of our kind of comedic kind of things are stolen. Some of them anyway. And it was a vague reference from the UK Office, where in episode 5 of season 2, there's an IT technician. He comes in and he's bragging about things that he's done, and he sort of says, "Oh, once I was go-karting and I turned over in the air and people thought I was going to die, and then I landed and I just pulled over and went, 'What were you worried about?'" And it's just a really like stupid, like obvious lie, but it was such a good moment for me to just drop that in. I enjoyed that myself. Yeah.
Oh,
and then Boney. Then we're on our way out. We're getting out of the ossuary here, and it feels so good.
Fulton casually pushes aside the statue of Pharasma and gets a really powerful buff from it. Which is just one of those things that was like all of those statues in that room, almost all of them were trapped except the Pharasma one that gave you like a powerful buff. And it's one of these things where like, oh, that would have been really helpful 10 minutes ago before we went into that fight. Instead, I'm just really powerful for walking out.
And it's really good as well because he's obviously got the crit cards, so all it does is even him out for a little while.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good. And then Velda sort of cleans house, gets rid of Boney, makes him walk into the fire.
Yeah.
And does the same with, what do we call it? Rotina,
the handmaiden, yes.
Rotina kind of like walks around, doesn't she, and just catches fire, and then just burns to a pulp. Yeah, really disgusting, kind of. Yeah.
Velda gets so many kills in this adventure, either through Disrupt Undead or through just commanding skeletons and then making them walk off things. Like, he probably comes into contention.
I can't wait to hear. Like, he's probably really high up now on your list, isn't he?
He's doing all right. He's hanging in there. I can tell you because he gets another kill later on in this one. I'll tell you what the final scores are after we've covered that, because there's one very important fight that happens in this before you get out of the.
Well, we're just getting to that. We walk down the hall, and there is a sound shuffling in the darkness. And Zombie Balls, the badger, which is, Dan, this is a moment of genius from you. Bringing back balls is fantastic. Kudos to you. What gave you this idea, Dan?
I don't think Scott's ever been that genuinely frightened in the course of this game.
Yeah.
I was just like, it was just such a hilarious encounter. The first encounter with balls was so funny. I was just like, we need to like in a game which is all about the dead coming back. We've got to bring the dead back. We've got to bring balls back. And it's it's kind of vague because undead can create themselves in Pathfinder, but it's usually like, if somebody dies with incredible malice in their soul, sometimes they rise again as a vengeful thing. And I'm like, Balls definitely had malice in his soul. Balls was a horrible little badger. So he's definitely going to come. So he's not an alchemical thing. He's not related to any of this plot. He's just come back from the grave for revenge on Caragor, and it goes very badly for him.
Right, yeah. It's nice. It's a good little fight. And Caragor was right to be worried because he was on low hit points.
Yeah,
this badger could have taken him out. We had no healing left. Em might have had a potion or something. I'm not sure at the time. But yeah, the badger could have taken one of us out. It could have really killed us. One of us at least. Imagine that. Dan, imagine that you would have killed one of the characters just with a little zombie stupid badger fight at the end.
God.
How happy would you have been?
I would never have lived that down. We would have never kind of, it would have been a very Danger Club thing to have happened. But yeah, we'd still be talking about it now, I'm sure.
Yeah, we would have been. It would have been very similar to when Fulton pushed Velda into the pit and nearly killed Velda back in the carnival days. Because he nearly killed him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Got real close.
Yeah, James understandably was so annoyed at the time. And yeah, I don't know, maybe one of us would have been annoyed if we'd have gone out with a badger, or maybe we would have been fine.
Well, I mean, if Velda had died there, he wouldn't have been here to turn up and disrupt Undead on Undead Balls to save the day in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good little fight. It's really fun. M sort of stabs Mrs. Caragor, slashes him and a little bit exposes the ribs, and then Velda burns the flesh off. And just again leaves a horrible pulp on the floor, which is great. And then we go on.
I tell you, that brings him. Let's give you some scores now, because that's
go on in. Yeah. That brings us to the end of the fight.
That brings us to the end of the fight, which puts Velda on 8 kills, which means he moves very firmly into 4th place. Shania's still down in 5th place with 6 kills. That makes sense. She's the healer, but with M's kill of that zombie, it becomes so tight at the top. Our top 3: 3rd place, M on 14. 2nd place, Caragor on 15. 1st place, Fulton on 16.
Ooh, yeah. That is close.
So close. It's going to all change when we get into the next couple of episodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might have a new leader. Might have a new champion.
Might have a new champion. Who knows? It's great, this end bit as well. Trying to get out, and then we meet the priest, and he just freaks out and just what are you doing here? Who are you? I loved that. That was so funny. Just trying to get, and we're like, oh look, mate, yeah, seriously, we'll give you our weapons, it's fine, just let us go through, just bring us your superior. And then this is where it starts, where we don't know who we're looking for.
The farce.
Oh my God, yeah, and we're trying to find who it is. We're just shouting out names like Mistress Dellison. The guy tries to grab Shania. We have an Independence Day moment.
Yeah.
Where it's you want clearance? How about this clearance?
It's my clearance. You punch him?
Welcome to Earth. I mean, yeah. We have all of that.
It's such a mix of things what is going on here. Because I remember famously I mentioned this to the internet that this had happened, and that I'd kind of put you guys through this slightly, and the internet massively did not side with me on it. They were just you were so cruel to your players on that. You should have just told them. You should let them roll a check. And
didn't you anonymously? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You carry on. I was going to say, didn't you anonymously go into a forum and ask people?
Yeah, the Pathfinder Facebook group. I asked about it, but it was a weird mix of things. Part of it is an out of character thing, in that I do get sometimes frustrated by the fact that you guys don't take any notes during your games, and so sometimes plot points come up, and you guys are it's weird that we're alongside listening to this episode for this Danger Recall. Today I've been proofing episode 145, a recent one, which is exactly the same thing again, which is a lot of everyone being where do we go? And I'm just
oh my God. Yeah, no spoilers, but yes.
So there's a lot of that going on as well. And so it's kind of come on, just give me the name, give me something or give me but also there's a little bit of stalling, because I don't want to get us into the Pines fight in this episode. So I'm I am slightly running out the last 10 minutes, because I know where the episode needs to end without us getting back to exactly where we are. But there's also a little bit of, we talked about hubris in the last Danger Recall, and it is very much like that. The Danger Club are so rude to everyone they meet, and you guys are so rude to all of the priests and guards that you meet, that it's well, the world does have to push back against you a little bit. These people are not going to help you if you're just you servant, take me to the So they start becoming obstructive as well. And in my, since it's come out, I've been oh, should I have given some extra stuff? Should I have maybe helped them out? and like got him to roll a check. And now when I looked at it, I was like, no, actually, we were fucking in the room with the high priestess before anyone was like, can I roll a check to try and remember what it is? Like, it took that long before anyone actually was like, damn, will you actually tell us what it is? It's like men not asking for directions. You know, everyone was just like, no, don't tell us.
Yeah. No, we're fine. We know what we're doing. Absolutely fine. Yeah, it was crazy. Very silly of us. I think hopefully we've learned our lesson, but maybe we haven't. We'll have to listen to that new episode that comes out in a few weeks and we'll find out, won't we? No spoilers. I love this though. We get into the high priestess and, you know, she's like, I've been priestess for 30 years. Before me, it was a guy, because we thought maybe we time traveled a couple of years or something. And then we were like, oh no, that what's going on? We've really messed up here. What's happening? So we leave our weapons, and then this moment at the end, we find out that it's the crypt mistress. What's her name again?
Valanthe Nerissia.
Valanthina Nerissia, yes. And then the high priestess just has a hand glow, touches Svalana's head, and just explodes it all over the place. Disgusting, wonderful, amazing end to this episode. Loved it.
It's so gross. There's one other bit in this scene which I really love, which is where Drum very confidently goes, "No, it's the High Priestess of Life that we need to see." And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, the High Priestess," which doesn't exist and has never been mentioned in the narrative before, and just isn't a thing. And everyone just, he says it so confidently that everyone's like, "That's exactly what it is. It's the High Priestess of Life." I love when Drum does
just the mansplaining. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah. Cool.
Amazing.
Well, that's it. That's the episode. We thank you so much, Dangerlings, for joining us. Next week, we're going to go on to episode 48.
Two of my favourite ones coming up. Two really good ones.
Really good episodes coming up. Yeah. I can't wait. We're going to try and get a lot of people on these ones because I think we need a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about on these. Tune in, have a listen to the episodes if you want to before. Let us know any questions or anything that you want to know, because we are here for you. Get on the Discord, get on the Facebook, get on the Twitter, get on the Instagram, get on wherever you want to get on. Just get it on, bang a gong, get it on. Whatever you want to do, Dangerlings, it's up to you. Dan, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're so welcome. Do you want one final little bit of Danger Club history on this episode?
Yes, I do actually.
To leave us
That'd
off on the ending of this episode, where we got Drummond to say a quote from Hitchhiker's Guide because the listener asked him for it. It's like in the outro, we get him to do it. I got him to record that at Dirty Dick's pub in London, where I met up with Drum and Scott for a beer, and that was the meeting where we decided we were definitely going to switch to Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So that there we go, a little moment of Danger Club history there. Nice in that recording. But thank you very much for throwing extra facts in during the wrap up, but I just really like that little bit of trivia.
I don't mind. It's good. Good bit of trivia, mate.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm going to get back in your ears with all of my other Dans.
Goodbye, Dangerlings. Bye.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.